Hello everyone, I'm CoolGuy, welcome back, and today let's talk about Trials of Osiris, Trials of the Nine, not being back for at least 2 more seasons, about 6 months, if at all. It could be Destiny 3. But I want to talk about the game mode. It is their sandbox, we play in it, in the end it is their judgment. They do value feedback, they gather it, and they make decisions with all that in mind. Now in the recent This Week at Bungie, we had some insight to this, but here's the odd part. Let's read this backwards. A very odd realization starts happening, because when you read it like this, in my opinion, it's almost like you get the answer. Until we have a solid prototype for a pinnacle PvP in-game activity, Trials is staying on hiatus indefinitely and will not return over the course of the next few seasons. When we have those new plans ready, we'll be sure to share them with you. With the introduction of Trials of the Nine and Destiny 2, we made a few changes to the formula and never really hit the same mark. We're unhappy with its role in the ecosystem. The new activity wasn't achieving the goal of bringing the community together every weekend. Both Destiny and the online PvP scene have evolved since 2015, so we don't believe that bringing back the 2015 version of Trials of Osiris would accomplish our goals today. Trials of Osiris was released in May of 2015 as the original high-stakes weekend PvP event. Trials had an amazing impact on our game and our community. It was a pinnacle venue for players to show off their best skills, strategies, and gear. The 3v3 elimination mode combined with the card system created the coveted reward of earning a trip to the lighthouse. I think there's no question that the community wants Trials back, specifically that 3v3 elimination with revives, with the boons. The game mode itself was great for the game, it is great for the game. There are a lot of players that loved watching streams of it, even if they didn't play. The loot was great, the armor looked great. When they say that they made changes to the formula that didn't really hit the mark, and that Trials didn't fit well into the Destiny 2 ecosystem, I feel there is a reason for that. When Trials of the Nine started in Destiny 2 Year 1, remember it was the lane holding meta. No snipers, no shotguns, we had Mida, Vigilance Wing, Graviton Lance, we didn't have the new subclasses. And on the flip side of that, let's remember you could be a part of a clan and Hawthorne would give the Trials weapons and the Trials gear to players that didn't complete Trials. So to me, the game mode itself wasn't the issue. The game mode was fine. Yes, it was different with Countdown, but the core idea, it was all great. It was the other things, but a lot of that since has been fixed. With Countdown, things like that, survival, I understand that innovation is needed. You gotta innovate, but with gaming, there comes a point to where if you innovate too much or in the wrong direction, that starts to become something entirely different. And when it does that, it loses what you originally fell in love with. You could take Call of Duty with Advanced Warfare when it came out. Crazy jetpacks everywhere, it was cool, a lot of players liked that, but again, you start losing the core appeal that you fell in love with. It starts to become completely different, and at some point, it's just not caught anymore. You could talk about Fortnite now with the airplanes, it goes on and on. With Trials going forward, the big part of that post was we don't believe that bringing back the 2015 version would accomplish what our goals are today. We don't know those goals. But I think all of it is bigger than Trials. I do believe that they care about the game mode. I believe that if or when it comes back, they want it to be top notch. But right now, the game has changed so much since Trials and early Destiny 2. Let's remember, early Destiny 2, we had 4v4 quick play. And it stayed like that for a very long time. They gathered the feedback, so I do applaud them for trying something new, the 4v4, it didn't really work out, that's the innovation, but then I applaud them for bringing back 6v6. Because in my mind, 6v6 quick play is Destiny. And I believe when players say they want Trials 3v3 elimination with revives, that is Destiny to a lot of players. But I also try to picture the situation, so let's stop for a second. A lot of players want that 3v3 old school elimination with revives. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that Bungie absolutely 110% knows that. But recent changes, they stopped doing DLC, they do season passes now. They had a very well received Forsaken launch. Players came back with Forsaken. Forsaken was that good and they said that they want to try to keep that going forward with the season pass. They recently obtained the Destiny IP from Activision in a split. A huge shift is happening, so if you stop and think for a second, they're the captains of the ship, they have priorities. It's an exciting time for them, but also probably really scary. We start talking about player population, I'm sure they got a big bump in the population for Forsaken, and they want to do that again, they want to keep doing that and building the community back up. So if you stop and think, it wouldn't be a good idea to bring Trials back simply just to bring it back. So if Trials comes, it would probably be with something like Forsaken. It has to be with something like that. Maybe a big area, a new raid lair, a new DLC-ish with their season pass, something to get players back, and Trials would be on top of all of that. There would also be a back end to Trials with weapons, gear, the system itself. There will be development to be had. And for the sake of drag and drop Destiny 1 Trials, as much as a lot of players would like that, I don't think that's a top priority. When you talk about PvP in-game, the comp playlist is a whole nother story that needs adjustments. It simulates a Trials-type atmosphere, and the reward is a weapon, but people that play that playlist want that weapon. And when they get it, they're usually gone. That's the sole purpose for a lot of players. But when you get in there, you see that gun in every playlist. The effect of Luna, not forgotten, even though it's a great weapon, it took away what that playlist was supposed to do. Instead of players playing it as a competitive playlist, it's now only there to get the gun. But the gun itself is keeping players out of the playlist. It's kind of doing the opposite of what the plan was. But moving on, they had a fresh start and they want to take advantage of that right now, so a drag and drop version of Trials probably isn't in the picture, I would think. And you know, when they talk about bringing the community together for weekends, I think Halo 3 Double Experience, man. That's Bungie, Rocket Race, Fiesta. And just like every Friday, we would get on Twitter, we would look for the announcement, what's the Trials map for the week? You would do that with Halo. You get on the website, what's the game mode? Is it Griffball, Team Stickies, Fiesta, whatever it was? I think Destiny could benefit from something like that. Laser tag with the original broken Prometheus lens. Maybe it's all trace rifles. A strike playlist just for the weekend that has Grunt Birthday Party or something like that. You could make use of the Infinite Forest, as they did in Halloween time. Just a lot of fun things. Now back to Trials, it would make the PvP community very happy, but as an avid PvP player, I would actually like to see other things done before Trials is added. But I think the reason that Trials failed was the original state of Destiny 2. And it should be reevaluated, which I believe that they're doing. It's a completely different game than when this game started. There are some options though to bring Trials back. Number one is just to simply not do it, which is the current state that we're in, but a second one is to bring it back similar to Destiny 1. They can make some adjustments, but we liked the boon system. You matched other teams that were at 7 wins. The gear is great, the flawless loot is great, all of it. It was very exciting. You know, so Trials stopped, we had the faction rally stop, so that's 2 avenues that had a lot of gear, a lot of weapons that could come from them that we don't really have anymore. But a third one is to innovate in a way that keeps the feeling of Destiny 1 Trials. But something has crossed my mind to possibly combine them, so hear me out, we're about to get a little crazy here. And through all of it, it would mean replacing the comp playlist. Because I think you could have both Trials of the Nine and Trials of Osiris. Trials of the Nine would have the same guns we had from early Destiny 2, but with random rolls. You could also add other items into the loot pool, but that would run for 7 days, and that's going to be in place of comp. It would run the same way that it did, same scoring system, maybe 5 wins this time, whatever it is. You complete it at your own leisure. You would get all the things that you had in early Trials of the Nine, but a win would grant you a ticket and access to Trials of Osiris on the weekend. And Trials of Osiris could be that old school 3v3 elimination. It would have different weapons, flawless gear, and the lighthouse would actually have Osiris in it, the actual character. And that new lighthouse would just be in a new place where, again, you would just go meet Osiris and get your gear. So a 2-tier system, complete Trials of the Nine at any point, score your ticket to Trials of Osiris, and once you have that ticket for Osiris, you don't really have to go back into Trials of the Nine, and you won't lose that ticket. I think that it would keep the really good players in Trials of Osiris doing carries, doing all these fun things, and people that just need to get to that second step wouldn't really get, stomped down in Trials of the Nine. I think of that as an expanding experience. The details are all up for discussion, obviously, where, how, boons, all of that, but I think that they could really work off of each other. But that would probably mean the downfall of comp, so there's a lot that goes into it. It is a shame about Trials, but it's a very special game mode that needs very special attention. But I think that their attention is elsewhere, so when the time is right, make it right, and then drop it. But I would like to know your thoughts on this. Thank you guys for watching, and until the next one, I am CoolGuy.